Hello everyone and welcome back to Prof. Dan Tutorials. I know it's been a while. Yes. All right, today I'm going to be addressing a critical topic for all self-petitioners, especially those of you applying for the EB2 National Interest Waiver, NIW, and the EB1A categories. It is imperative to understand the severe consequences of submitting fraudulent documents or providing false information in your immigration petitions. You probably think, well, no one will find out. I want you to probably think again. USCIS is cracking down on fake documents and dishonest filings. So in this video, I'm going to share with you real cases and perhaps some essential educational advice that every EB2 NIW or EB1A self-petitioner, or even if you are petitioning for any immigration benefits, that you must hear. Don't let a shortcut cost you and cut short your dream. So, watch and stay informed. And I would advise, please share these with your circle of friends and contacts. Now, the immigration process can be daunting, of no doubt. And the pressure to present an impeccable profile might lead some, to consider embellishing achievements or even submitting counterfeit documents. And these could include, for example, creating fake letters to demonstrate work experience that doesn't exist, fabricated work experience or job offers, fake recommendation letters, dependent or independent, claiming degrees or certifications that were never earned, paying for articles to appear in non-reputable journals to boost publication records, listing honors or recognitions that were never received, paid or on-hand awards and memberships. Overall, all these examples is non-exhaustive. Inasmuch as you know they are not credible, please kindly avoid them. Overall, submitting false representation or documentation. Willful nature of the false representation. Materiality of the false representation is capable of influencing the USCIS decision, and evidence showing intent to deceive for fraud cases. All these should be avoided. So, self-petitioners, filing your EB2 NIW petition or your EB1A petition, be aware of all of these and stay away from them. In the subsequent slides, I would also, in the course of this video, share some practical examples with you directly from USCIS source. So you know that all these things we are saying are real deal. And so you have to be careful. So lately, we've been seeing, longer processing times and even more requests for evidence. I must say that USCIS is watching closely. A single fake document, just one fake document in your petition can destroy all your hard work and lead to permanent consequences. So, even if someone you know got away with it, you may not, and I would say it doesn't worth it. So don't even give it a thought or a try. Many fall for this trap out of, desperation or pressure. It's understanding. And some even think, well, Mr. A did it and got approved. So why can't I do it as well? But just know that USCIS systems are evolving, and what passed before might be flagged today, and you don't want to be the example they make from all of this. So rather than giving it a try, please avoid it totally. And I wanted to probably pause the video if you want and take a look at what is on the screen and read everything. This is extracted directly from USCIS source. And I'm just going to give you a very high-level explanation about this. So in a non-precedent decision by the Administrative Appeal Office, AAO, a petition for an EB2 national interest waiver was filed by an industrial designer, and this was revoked. Why? Due to fraud and willful misrepresentation. So let me break this down for you. This is a real example that reinforces why you should never fake any part of your petition, be it recommendation letter or any other thing. So in this case, a petitioner actually submitted a reference letter supposedly written by a professor from a university abroad. And guess what? When that professor was contacted by the US Embassy, the professor denied ever writing the letter for the petitioner. He said he even barely knew the petitioner and that they only met briefly through a friend and wasn't familiar with any of the exhibition projects described in the letter. This is serious and is a big deal. So the situation became worse even when the professor gave inconsistent statements, first saying he didn't write it, he didn't write the recommendation letter, then later on, due to one thing or the other, later claiming he might have, but just could not remember due to the passage of time. Now, unfortunately, this contradiction didn't help the petitioner. USCIS concluded the original letter was fraudulent and the petition was revoked. What a mess. So please remember that US immigration officers are trained to spot inconsistencies. And even if something gets past them during maybe the initial review, it may still be flagged later during background checks or maybe even embassy calls, as we see in this case. And this is exactly why you must stick to truthful, verifiable documentation. Because, once credibility is lost due to one thing in your petition, it's very hard to get it back. So please be very careful. I'm going to share with you again another striking case so you understand that this thing is real and is serious. Now, I wanted to pause the video again and just briefly read through what you see on the screen. This is also an extract directly from USCIS source. In this case, I will explain briefly. So USCIS reviewed this petition for the EB1 category. The previous example I shared was for EB2. It's also in EB1, and that's for extraordinary ability. And for this, they discovered that, again, it's still recommendation letters. So they discovered that one of the recommendation letters submitted had been tampered with, had been tampered with. The recommender, who had previously sent a valid letter, later clarified that the version submitted to USCIS, had a sentence added to exaggerate the petitioner's credentials. So now be very careful. If perhaps you are thinking of indulging in such practice, yes, you know the recommender. Yes, the recommender agreed to write a letter for you, and it's been written, it's been sent to you, and you went on mischievously to probably edit a sentence, just a sentence. You still have to be very careful, as we see in this case. You have to be very careful not to indulge in such, because you do not know, it can backfire. So in this case, that sentence, just a sentence that was edited, falsely claimed the petitioner, was a nationally recognized expert, right? To judge membership in elite scientific societies. And maybe the intention of the petitioner was just to boast his case. But then, when USCIS investigated, the original writer denied ever approving or including that language, that sentence in particular. So, even though they tried to explain it, blaming a clerical mix-up or assistant error, but it's already unfortunate because there has been inconsistencies and there was lack of hard evidence, and the petitioners failed to provide credible explanation, and all that leads to finding the letter being fraudulent and willful misrepresentation. And what was the result? Of course, the entire petition was denied. And in fact, a fraud finding was permanently attached to the petitioner's record. You see that? So that can ruin the entire person, the entire profile. This case also shows that even a small edits or exaggerations in letters, especially around, your credentials, can lead to serious consequences. Again, USCIS checks. And when they find fraud, they don't just deny the petition, they also flag it in your file. They flag it in your profile. So you want to be very, very informed and careful about your steps. Having said that, um, I'm gonna give you some consequences that I could see from USCI's record. And you can also check the description of this video. You will see about 5 or 6 different links. Click on those links and you'll be able to read directly from these sources. So Prof. Dan is not just saying what he's saying, but they are verifiable directly from authentic, credible sources. An example I'm going to draw at is there was a non-citizen who was arrested for, well, this one's a little bit different though from, the EB2 NIW or the EB1 its case, but they are relatable and you just want to be very careful. That's why I'm sharing these kind of examples. So again, there was a non-citizen who was arrested for what? For selling counterfeit social security and green cards. That one is is really, really on a very high level. That one went on a very high level. Of course, I don't expect you to do that. these are also documents. You don't want to forge any of this kind of document. And this kind of fraud, of course, can lead to criminal charges with penalties of up to 15 years in prison. You don't want to be a partaker of such, or even thousands of dollars in fines and possible deportation as well can occur as a result of this. Another example, there was a case that involved a person who submitted more than 1,000 fraudulent asylum applications, making up entire stories and fabricating personal claims for immigrants. So you just want to be very careful, whether you're a consultant, you claim to be a consultant or not, or you are doing this thing by yourselves, be very careful not to fabricate what can put your life in a big mess. Now, for this person, for example, faces up to 10 years in prison, along with the loss of immigration privileges and potential deportation. Another example, quick one, an individual was caught producing hundreds of fake medical forms to help immigrants appear eligible for immigration benefits. Now, these forged forms use stolen doctor identities, and that jeopardized many petitions. And what again is the penalty? Up to 10 years in prison and a federal record. And another one, in a particular high-profile case, a public figure was found guilty of lying on immigration forms about past crimes and human rights violations. Although that person received a green card, he is now facing visa fraud charges that could lead to prison fines and revocation of permanent residency. So why put yourself in such a mess that you know that in the temporary you may scale through? However, in the long run, God forbid, may you not be recalled for a fake document or a fraudulent thing you have exhibited. So it's real, and please do not fall a victim of this. And yes, where I'm going to draw the curtain. Instead, what should you do? You self-petitioners in particular, what should you do? Oh, you are so desperate to get this approval. You are so desperate to get this green card and become a permanent resident of the US. It's great. Yes. Oh, you're already in removal proceeding and you're just looking for a way to navigate this. I understand. And, I know many people can relate to such pressure, but all I can just say is take the slow but steady routes to build your profile genuinely over time. I'm saying this again because in past videos, educative videos, I've also said, for example, those who already have an EB2 NIW approval. We've had persons who, because they are still waiting due to their priority date not current, making efforts to file EB1A. And we've even had some who have received the EB1A approval. But the question is, what did they do? They prepared themselves. They didn't walk on an empty vacuum. They already have an established great profile, and they then decided over a period of time to, build on their profile such that it can benefit an EB1A petition for approval. And this were done genuinely. And that would be my advice. Even if you're trying to touch up your profile for a given immigration petition, please ensure you do so genuinely. It may be slow, but steady. But, at the end of the day, you are genuine. So my advice is, again, my educative advice is, please, you may consider joining real associations. Consider gaining authentic experience. Consider working on publication, genuine ones, if needed. You don't need a perfect profile. You probably need an honest one that is convincing, one that is genuine, and one that can fulfill the, judging criteria from USCIS in order to get an approval. And I think that's what, even USCIS will respect that in the long term. And again, you can work with professionals or mentors for guidance. You are in a particular field, STEM, non-STEM. There are those who have gone ahead of you in that field. You may consider, seeking their mentor or advice on how you can also build your profile. Although, it also depends if this set of people have an understanding of this EB2 NIW or the EB1A petition. I can also give an educating advice that you may consider consulting with a reputable, that's the key word, reputable immigration attorneys. If you think you have the resources, uh, a disclaimer, Prof. Dan, as of today, is not an attorney, so I'm not claiming to be an immigration attorney, okay? Or better still, I would say seek educative advice from maybe registered consultants who have integrity and they are professionally sound and again who perhaps understand how to present your qualifications or build your profile truthfully. That should be the way to go. And I would say success is still possible with real documents. So consider this as Prof. Dan's educating advice, okay? And all right, remember, again, I would reiterate, just because someone else engaged in fraud and wasn't caught doesn't mean it's safe or right. The risk far outweigh any perceived short-term, mid-term benefits. I would advise uphold honesty in your immigration journey, whether you are filing from abroad, whichever country you reside, or whether you're already in the US, please uphold honesty in your immigration journey to ensure a secure and successful future in the United States. And if it's not real, please don't submit it. And your dream is valid, but build it on truth. It may take longer, but it will last. It will last. Go for the one that will last. All right, everyone. If you found this information helpful, please do not forget to like, do not forget to share, and of course, subscribe for more insights on navigating this whole process ethically and effectively. Stay safe and stay honest. Thank you for your continued support, and I wish you all the very best in your petition. Take care and bye-bye.